Welcome, everybody. Hello, hello. Happy to have you here. We're live right now with Lindsay Halsey from Pathfinder SEO. So hi, Lindsay. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me here, Emily.
Yeah, we're excited to have you back. So we welcome Lindsay every month to join us and talk SEO. We have covered so many great topics. You can find them all. The easiest place is probably on our YouTube channel because you can just go to our live streams there and find the Lindsay ones. But they're also, if you're watching this in our Facebook group, they are also all in the past events. So you can look up past events and find all of our SEO expert series with Lindsay. If you are watching, please do me a favor and just say hello in the chat. When you get a chance, you can say hi, where you're watching from, so that I know we are broadcasting live. And it does, I think it looks like we're going live in Facebook. Let me just double check over there. Excuse me. And then I'm going to say just a couple words about GoWP. It doesn't look like we're live over there. I'll have to troubleshoot that. Let me check real fast. We should be. It says we're streaming, so let me know if you're watching. Say hi and let me know that you can see us. Okay, it does look like it came in now. So all right, looks like we're good to go. All right, I'm going to say just a couple words about GoWP. For those of you watching who may not be fully familiar with us, we like to say that we create happiness for digital agencies and help them to become more profitable. So whether you're looking to grow your team with a developer, a copywriter, designer, virtual assistant, or you're interested in outsourcing services like maintenance and content edits so that you can focus on growth and not be in the weeds every day, we have got you covered. We'd love to have that conversation. You can reach out to me, Emily at GoWP, or just use the chat bot on our website, whatever suits you best. And we'd love to talk to you about your agency. If you're looking for coaching and mentorship to take your agency to that next level, I would love for you to check out the Micro Agency Academy that we launched recently. You can enroll now and be well on your way to scaling your agency as we get into the new year. I know we just had trick or treat and Halloween, but before you know it, it's going to be January and you're going to be setting all those goals for your business for the new year. So this course and coaching program empowers you to establish and boost your monthly recurring revenue, master the art of strategic hiring so you know how to grow your team, who to hire next, how to hire them, skyrocket your sales closing rate, and grow your profits while enjoying more free time. So really the goal is growing your agency and getting you free time back in your life. And right now you can take 50% off the first month with the code GoWP50. And I will share the link to that in the comments once I finish talking here. So yeah, we are here today with Lindsay Halsey from Pathfinder SEO. And if you're not familiar with Pathfinder SEO, it is a, excuse me, it's a, sorry, I've lost my place here. It's a guided SEO for agency owners that helps you provide services to your clients. And Lindsay, you can correct me if you want to build that out a little bit more, but I'll share the link in there. Pathfinder has a great community as well to help you build and help support your SEO services. So I'd love for you to go check that out as well. And I will pass it over to Lindsay now.
Thank you so much, Emily, for the introduction. And going back to chatting for a second about the Micro Agency Academy, if you don't know Chris Lemma and Pete Perry, I, as a fellow agency owner, cannot speak more highly of those two, and the fact that they've teamed up together and with GoWP in that coaching and community and that program is really powerful. And so I've gotten to work with both Chris and Pete as coaches and work on our agency, and it has been a total game changer. There have been things that I wouldn't have seen or wouldn't have been able to identify, and having that kind of external input has been really huge for us. And then also leveraging the frameworks and the training and everything that they share has been a big accelerator, I know, for our agency. So
Absolutely.
I wanted to go back and highlight those two in particular.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Lindsay. And same goes for GoWP. We have really grown so much since we do coaching with Chris Lemma as well. He's a treasure. I mean, honestly, he's a legend when it comes to business strategy, and it's really a game changer for your business and coaches. Pete's coaching and accountability paired with that is such a really special combination, and we've put together some cool testimonials that hopefully you've seen. And if not, you can check out the GoWP page and go see some of the testimonials we've been getting from our current members in the Academy.
Oh, awesome. And then Christopher, a quick shout out to say thank you so much for your kind words about Pathfinder in the chat. And thank you all for being here. I am excited to talk strategy today. So we are going to get into talking about the impact of AI on SEO strategy. And more specifically, we are going to be chatting here about how Google's generative AI experience is starting to impact SEO and what you can be focusing on today for both your agency's website and your client's website if you're offering SEO services. So let me go ahead and start sharing my screen. Here we go. And we'll keep today as interactive as possible. You can see I've got some slides prepared. I also have a Google tab open with generative AI dialed in so we can do things more dynamically. And I'll be keeping an eye on the chat all at the same time. So feel free to ask questions, make comments, and we'll keep this live and community oriented. So my agenda for you today is to help you understand what the search generative experience is, to understand when will it be available, and then the big topic is how does this impact SEO strategy? So let's just start at the very beginning with what is Google's search generative experience, or SGE, as you may see it referenced. And Google has rolled this out. It's in beta, essentially, available in Google Labs. And it is designed to help you better learn and make sense of information on the web. And so Google's long been in the department of providing relevant results and relevant search history. But now Google's also kind of getting into this game of helping you learn and make sense of information, sometimes directly in the Google search results. And so that's just a little snapshot of what it is and what its goals are. And let's talk for a second a little bit more about what is it, like what happens when you use Google's generative AI. And that is one of the first things that happens is it helps to encourage follow-up searches. So if I am, for instance, planning a vacation, and for those of you that know me well, know I like to travel, the first search I might do could be something about, is it a good time to visit? So maybe if I'm starting to plan a new vacation, I just saw a little update that said that tickets to Lisbon, Portugal are on sale right now. So I might search, is February a good time to visit Portugal? And my first question is, is this something I'm going to want to visit? And so here you're getting to see the beginning of that generative AI experience that I've turned on here. And if I click show more, I can see that full bar. It has sort of like a light blue color. Sometimes you see different colors behind it, but that's a signal that you're in generative AI. I see the text. This is experimental, and info quality may vary, and you will see that as we do with AI. In here, you can see in my generative AI, I get the answer to my question directly in here. They're going to look at basically 3 core components to is it a good time: weather, crowds, and budget, and bring in some sort of conversational tones about what some people are saying, etc. And when I say that it's more conversational, you see phrases like "some say," that feels conversational. This content is generated by AI, and it's an amalgamation of Google's understanding in this space. Down here, you can see how it encourages follow-up searches. And so after I ask, is February a good month to see, my next question is, how long should I go? And so my next question is the next prompt, which is, hey, how many days would be a good number of days to spend on this vacation? And then I might start to get more specific, or I might decide to get more detailed. So in my travel planning, maybe I'm wondering about, do I need a car? Maybe I get more specific about how many days to spend in different places. And maybe down the road, I start to look for things like best hotels with kids, and that's going to clue Google in this conversational search that the rest of the results should be geared towards family travel, because it appears like that's the direction I'm going. And so there's AI and generative AI, there's learning being involved here. So this is sort of this new dynamic in Google, more conversational, more follow-up searches. But along the way, there are still links to web pages. So yes, there is a lot of content in here that might just answer my question live. But that doesn't mean Google's not in the game still of directing traffic to web pages. And they're doing it in two primary areas here. The first is this little carousel bar over here that if I click on a link, I'm going to end up going over to a website. So I can still interact with websites and generate visibility for my website and my client's website if they're in this keyword space. But also in these little down arrows, you can see essentially where Google is referencing websites. And this is in part because one of the criticisms of generative AI in search is normally I trust and get informational trust out of knowing what website actually led me to these pages, and that how much will I just trust the AI generated content here. I might sometimes want to actually interact with the websites that help to inform these recommendations. And so those are the two ways that you kind of get clicks from the generative AI section over to websites, and what content is sort of training Google up in these areas. So we still have links to web pages. We still have integration with Google Maps. So now let's see if I come over here and I do a search, best hotels in Lisbon for families. So if I get specific and I continue to use the generative AI experience and give it a second here to generate, so to speak, I still get interaction with Google Maps listings, just in a different dynamic in here. So I still see a Maps-like view. I still see specific hotels listed, and I can still see elements of a Google Maps listing in here. I can see star ratings and quantity of reviews. But what ends up happening essentially is that some of this other content is AI generated. So this one says hotel that some say is great for families, and this one says the same. This talks about dogs and things like this. And so where is Google essentially getting this information? Well, it's getting it from that website about the business, but it's also getting it from the conversation and the reviews around that business in things like Google Maps. And so if their Google Maps listings and a lot of the reviews say good for families, that's helping to train up the context in which these businesses get placed in these results. And in many ways, from a local business perspective, this section here of generative AI is not all that different than this organic search section, which is right below it. These are, hotels flagged as being kid-friendly. Their reviews are being showcased. The map is being showcased. In this case, in terms of formatting, we have the 3-pack is sort of what this section is referred to in organic search. And what we're seeing right now in generative AI is Google showcasing typically 5 local business listings and keyword searches with a local intent. And then they have a little drop down in case you want a few more suggestions. And in that drop down, you get a few specifics, but then you also get some like website links of websites that actually showcase these businesses. You may be wondering, for more detail about, well, how did these businesses get placed in here? And some of the insights that we can gather is that the content on the client's website still matters. So the backbone of SEO as it is today still applies to how do you get your clients' websites to rank in this view. Google Maps listings, so offsite SEO and trust and authority are still going to be factors in sort of this algorithmic landscape. And also getting listed in essentially PR. So getting listed in a website like this, where your client's business is featured in a third-party review or list, is going to also help to inform the AI. So it's still a collection of Google's understanding of a business and its place on the web that is powering up these AI-generated search results. The next thing that we see, if we kind of compare generative AI and look at a different sort of keyword intent space, is shopping is really powerful in generative AI. So if I come back up here and I say, how about best travel suitcase carry-on or something like that, I see now here in my search results, I see more play right now on the paid results. So this is a very transactional search, and Google is not going to give up its ad real estate. And so in this instance, I'm starting to see ads here at the top. I still see sponsored listings, and then I see this generative AI search result. Here I see a generative AI search result. Again, I get some classifications. I think one thing AI is really powerful at is helping me to get like structure, information architecture around the thing that I'm looking at. So I see durability, style, and organization as being like the 3 things I should be thinking about when I think about picking a travel suitcase. But then I get right into product in here. And so this, just like local businesses, is still promoting product. It's still promoting, essentially answering my question directly in the search results. And I'm getting more products. So I got 5 local business listings and like 10 product listings. And this information is also coming in. When you look at where does this information come from, this information comes from the website, structured data markup being in the website, but then also the Google Merchant Center and having a shopping feed help to power up that is part of how these businesses are getting showcased in these results. And then also the PR piece of it all, which is essentially there are lists and websites out there that are getting featured in this carousel, and it's all coming together to help represent this content. When you do these searches, it is common to find frustration. So I was chatting with somebody the other day, things to do in Breckenridge, which is a town near where I live. And they were expressing some frustration. And this is something you may see, which is this website is listed #1 in the organic search results. You can assume that it's a powerhouse of traffic and results for them in today's era, because this is really what the search engine landscape looks like today. But if you go up into the search generative experience and you start looking for them, you're like, well, they're not featured here, and then they're not featured here, and then they're not featured here. So we're down 9 results in the carousel. They're number 10 in the carousel here. And if we do a drop down here and we start to scroll over as well, you're like, nope, they're not in the top 9. They're number 10 in the carousel over here. And so essentially, this is, can be a frustration. And so right now, as you get to know the search generative landscape, you may have different frustrations. One is inaccurate information. It's experimental. Info quality may vary it. The other is rank or placement and visibility in here. You may find, hey, I don't understand how I could be #1 in organic search, but then so low down in the conversation up here, and that might be a pain point. And so right now, this is, can be both a challenge, but also an opportunity that we can look at coming in. The good news is right now, generative AI and this experience that I'm showing is not impacting your clients and your website's everyday traffic. And so it's not, if you had a down month in traffic in October, it is not because Google, isn't showcasing you at your client's website in a good light in here, or you're losing traffic to Google in this dynamic. Instead, this is available essentially via Google Labs. And since I made this slide, I think it's available in more locations, but I can drop this in the chat, but you can go and sign up and get your hands on Google's search generative experience and see where it's available and start to kind of play around with it. But the adoption rates and use of this are still pretty slight. So the big question that we don't know is essentially, when this is going to become the standard search result and the standard view on Google search. This Google Labs is open through the end of the year. And so you can go get your hands on it now and use it. That doesn't mean on January 1st, this becomes traditional Google search. It just means that this is, like everything in AI, a very evolving space. So let's talk, though, and frame this in an even broader light for you. And that is, if you are like me as an SEO who offers, SEO services to clients and has to help navigate clients through this space, one of the concerns in this moment is, Google is becoming my competitor, right? So it's like my job is to generate traffic to my clients' websites. And in this instance, it feels like Google is going to take away from traffic from my clients' websites. And so now Google in some ways is a competitive set. And there is a component of truth to that. But to frame this in a broader light, Google has been evolving, in different phases of its evolution for many years. And so when I first started in SEO 10 plus years ago, everything about Google was about driving traffic to websites, and that the search engine results were a combination of paid advertising space that you could buy through Google Ads and organic listings. But ultimately, it was all about getting someone from google.com back into a website. It was all about that transaction. And in that era where everything was snippets, it was all about getting visibility or rankings on the search results. And our key performance indicator were sessions or hits or visits, because that's exactly what we were always doing, was driving traffic to people's websites via interaction in listings just like this. But then things evolved, and Google did become a bit of a competitive set. And Google evolved to start to provide instant answers directly in the search results. And in this instance, we still had our paid advertising, we still had our organic listings, but we added in featured snippets, and people also asked information. So Google got into this game of providing relevant websites, but also just providing relevant information directly in the search results. And so if you come in here, you see essentially that Google is answering the content right in here. And this has been around for a long time. You also get featured snippets sometimes where it actually outlines that content directly in the search engine results view, as it is in this kind of little tiny preview that you're seeing in that snapshot. So in this era, all of a sudden, things got a little bit complicated. If you had clients that were really dominant in what I'm going to call informational queries, so upper funnel keywords, that are all about, is Baltimore, Maryland worth visiting? Or what's the weather like in October, in Portugal? You likely saw less traction and less traffic. So one of your key performance indicator sessions may have gone down even though your rank stayed high. You could also even be the website that gets featured in this that doesn't win the click, but that gives away their content essentially in a way that feels like it's for free to Google, because Google is excerpting that content and featuring it here. And so all of a sudden, sort of our key performance indicator of sessions became a little bit less valuable, because at the end of the day, sessions may have gone down for some of these really informational oriented queries. Maybe you maintained your transactional queries like hotel in whatever, or best backpack for kids for school. But some of this other content up here at the top, you may have lost some traffic for. And but smart marketers basically saw this as an opportunity and said, okay, the game is changing a touch, but now I just want to get my clients included in the featured snippets. And why do I want to do that? Well, because it builds brand recognition. And so if your client is this summitretreats.net, they all of a sudden have the opportunity to build a little bit of brand equity and brand recognition by being the business that sort of is powering up this answer, even if they don't win the click over to their website in this space. And so we still take it as a win when we get visibility on Google and we share information on Google and we get that brand recognition here. And this evolution that we're in right now is this next phase of basically even more emphasis on providing relevant information on the SERPs. The search engine results page is what SERP stands for. And now we just have this very dynamic, space where for us, that are in kind of web design and development and page building, has a lot to do with like rows and columns and different design landscape, but there's still a lot of real estate that our clients and our websites can garner and can get here. But we may still see a decrease in sessions. And so in this evolution, as Google presents more information here, and we need to kind of mentally prepare for that, and also remember that ultimately what we're trying to do for our businesses is to build their business or build our business. And so what we really care about are top line metrics like sales and revenue. And what a business that's in, say, the vacation rental space in the travel industry cares about, if they do lose a little bit of traffic for a things to do query, or is October a good time to visit query, what we really are going to want to measure for success is what's going on with sessions, but ultimately what's going with reservations, what's going on with room night bookings, etc. So it really puts a lot of emphasis on making sure that your Google Analytics 4 tracking is dialed in so that you're measuring the key performance indicators that matter the most to clients. You're looking at things holistically and sometimes even looking across marketing channels. So even if I'm only responsible for SEO or organic search, it's going to get harder to always attribute the win to a specific keyword, a specific page view or visit, because this isn't all happening in a vacuum, and that the customer acquisition life cycle is a huge part of what we're influencing and building for our clients as we invest in SEO. So that's just a touch about the evolution of search. We already chatted for a second about when this will become the standard, which is right now nobody totally knows. The other thing I should talk about is it is getting rolled out in certain industry spaces more aggressively than others. And so travel is a really fun example because that's one of the core areas that even Google uses as an example of where this is going to be especially powerful. But the other spaces where you might see different amounts are going to be health and wellness, and then the kind of money and financial side of things. So if I put in a query in here like, what percent of my income should I save for retirement? Like a financial query, you can see here that Google is providing an answer to this, but this is not generative AI. This goes back to being a featured snippet or extracted content directly coming from NerdWallet. And then in here, I don't even see a prompt that gets me to get Google to turn this into a generative AI result. So when I ask for like specific advice, Google won't go there with generative AI. If instead I say like, what are different types of, let's go with investments, Google kind of knows I'm in a financial state of mind right now, then all of a sudden you do see generative AI getting involved in the what space because it's just giving me information without giving me perspective. And then it'll let me keep going down this rabbit hole, but its prompts and questions are not how much should I save or where should I save or is this a good mutual fund? So the financial space is going to be have different results than you may see in others. The other big space that has different results is around diet. So if we search for something in health and wellness and medical searches, et cetera. So if I search for best banana bread recipe, something somewhat in the health space, maybe I'll get a result, although in this instance I didn't. Or, what causes, it's giving me all sorts of things. Let's go with what causes hiccups. And in here, I'm going to get a generative AI experience about this because I'm staying kind of high level. I went with a what query. But the space maybe I'll get how do I make hiccups go away. It's still giving me some insight. Google's willing to play in this space, but if I keep pushing it in health and medical for wellness and advice, I'll likely get to a place where Google gets uncomfortable and doesn't show the generative AI experience. So a lot's going on here, and essentially the big question we're asking is, how does this impact our SEO strategy? How do we get ready for all of this change, and what should we be doing now? And when I go back to how we take a holistic approach to SEO at Pathfinder and sort of when we're looking at SEO from a big picture, I basically go back to our framework of the 4 components of SEO success, of technical SEO, content, on-site, and off-site SEO. And this model still holds in this new era. The websites that are getting showcased in generative AI have a strong technical foundation. They're mobile friendly, they're responsive, they're secure. They might have some structured data markup that kind of helps Google understand the content, etc. So technical SEO still matters. Content still matters because it's how we share expertise, and that expertise now is going into helping to train up the AI. And we want that AI search result to be accurate. We also want to get featured in those results. On-site SEO still matters. We still care about things like page titles and meta descriptions and headers. We see that Google has a lot of structured information coming out of the generative AI. And so if our blog posts also include sections and information that is synthesized and strong, that's going to help with the AI world. And then offsite still matters. You still need Google Maps reviews. You still need to be included in that PR piece about the best of whatever the subject matter is. You still want to have backlinks from authoritative websites. So this model still stands up, and if you make no changes to your SEO strategy today, by following this model and staying in line with these best practices, your plan is still future-proof. You're still investing in the right area. And so, content marketing would probably be the #1 thing to be focused on in this era, because we want to share expertise, train the AI, and get featured in that search-generated, results. And so, one of our core keywords are things like SEO proposal templates, and this does really well for us. And we may, because I'm logged in and everything, I'm probably going to get some funny results there, but maybe I can get generative AI to kick into gear. But doubling down still, and Google doesn't want to give it to me probably because I'm logged in as me and too close, is still going to be the name of the game. We still want to invest, if we pick a second focus area, offsite SEO. So those Google Maps reviews, those backlinks are going to be really potent and powerful in this new era as well. Let's talk about more specifically, though, what you might decide to help kind of modernize your content and where you might increase your efforts. One of the things that I anticipate seeing is an increase, essentially, in question-oriented queries. So if we go back and find, let's go get a good little search result here. And if we go back into our travel space, we can see that Google is, doing a lot with follow-up prompts and questions. And so when we think about our content evolution, we can probably imagine that the direction things are heading is that there will be more questions that people ask in the search results. And I think back to when I noticed my children, who are now like 7 and 9 and pretty internet savvy, but they're still not great with typing, and so they use voice search for everything. And every query they put into the phone or to Google is a question, and everything is long. It's not like 3-word phrases. They're long and complex, and now Google's going to get even better at answering those because they can give more nuance to the answers using AI. But we're going to go from back in the day targeting a keyword like best hotels in Lisbon to now knowing like, oh yeah, people are putting in more words. They're putting in families or downtown or with a pool or with a rooftop bar. Queries have gotten longer over time. To now, we're going to see even more rise of question-oriented queries. And so something we can do to get ahead of the game a bit is to work on our FAQ content, which is content that is just simply structured in the form of a question. And this content can live and get played in a lot of different ways in different contexts. And so let's look at a couple of different ways to get you thinking about some ways that you can leverage this sort of effort. The first is that we can actually integrate content at the bottom of services pages. And so as an SEO agency in Aspen, I can get some ideas from the search generative experience around my core keyword space. I can get some ideas about things that I might want to add onto my SEO services page by looking here, like, do I need an SEO agency, or what does local SEO agency do? And if I pop over to my website and I go to my SEO services page, adding an FAQ section somewhere near the bottom, maybe above our contact form or below it, and asking and answering some of these questions are going to help me to play and have a voice in these spaces. And I can get ideas about what questions match to my different services pages. And this is going to be a rising tide that lifts all boats. It's going to be helpful for my actual real world visitors, because there are questions they are asking themselves as they navigate through this page about our services, about whether they can afford an SEO agency, about whether we have a 12-month contract, etc., that I could ask and answer in an FAQ section. So first and foremost, my content is always oriented towards the user, the end user. I'm not just doing this play for SEO. It really is focused on my audience. The next is I'm using generative AI to inform some questions my audience is asking, but also I'm using conversations I have with clients and prospects to do that. And then I can come in and I can add in that FAQ section. Another great play can be at the bottom of a product collection page. And so when we think about e-commerce websites, we think about how they oftentimes lack in content on their most valuable pages, which is their product collection page. So if this brand wants to rank for something like tents for backpacking, this would be a good landing page because it's backpacking tents and they're using the keyword, etc. But then we get in here and all it really has is product, a lot of product, but there's no intro paragraph here and there is no FAQ section here. And if I go in and I put in a search, sorry, I'm clicking around in too many places here for backpacking tents, and I go and I see what's happening in the search generative experience, I'm probably going to get some ideas for some good questions to include. So I can pop down here and I can look at what are the follow-up questions and see, okay, maybe I should do a question around the weight of a backpacking tent. I can do something else about cost. I can do something really elementary. How do backpackers carry tents? And I can talk about like you should pack it low in your backpack or something like that. And so this website, for both its users first and foremost, second for search engines, would benefit from an FAQ block getting added somewhere down here that talks about the frequently asked questions people get about backpacking tents. And if they went through and rolled this out to all of their product collection pages, that would be really great for SEO. And it would add something very basic to this page, which is content. And Google likes content in the search engines today and is going to continue to with search generative experience. I should mention that not all of these questions have to be motivated just here and that this is not really a new idea. This is just what we think of as like anticipating that there are going to be more searches around questions. So let's get ready for that. But really, if you were to come down to the people also ask section, you would see other questions, oftentimes that align very closely with those in the generative AI experience to give you more ideas around what would be good questions here. And so you can see in here all sorts of other ways of getting these question ideas. And this is like an oldie but a goodie. This is an old SEO strategy, but it's still a goodie because it's moving with the direction that we're heading. And it's still not even leveraged that aggressively of all of the content marketing plays people are doing. This one is not leveraged as often as it could be. The next is to integrate FAQs at the bottom of blog posts. So I mentioned earlier, we get a lot of traffic for SEO proposal templates. And if we go and we find that search result of ours somewhere in here and look at this actual post, I can see questions oriented in this blog post in a couple of different places. One is just in the title, how to, what to include, kind of question-oriented content, and this is structured in here. But I could add a whole section down at the bottom instead of additional tips. Maybe I break out this row and I turn this into an entire section about SEO proposals, and I get those ideas by just searching for SEO proposals and then seeing what questions I haven't already covered. I've probably covered something as basic as what is, and what should I write or what should I include. But I might find some other ideas in here. One that I noticed a while back was essentially, how do I send it? Like now I have it, how do I send it? How do I write a good email for it? Maybe a question about what's the difference between an SEO proposal and an SEO project scope, etc. Or should I include an FAQ section in my SEO proposal? Or should I include a case study in my proposal? I could integrate that all into this post. So that's another one. Sometimes we come up with ideas where, yes, they could fit into this FAQ at the bottom of something, but they're like such a big topic in and of themselves that they actually warrant an entire 800 to 1200 word blog post. And when that happens, essentially what we want to think about is also that you could put it as an FAQ at the bottom of a page. You could also tackle that in more depth as a blog post in and of itself or as a resource. And you can do both. You can do the long form version over on your blog, and you can have the short form version as an FAQ with a short, quick answer that then links over to the long form blog post. So with like backpacking tents, they could write how to store a backpacking tent, how to clean a backpacking tent, how to fix a hole in a backpacking tent. All of those could be long form blog posts that share a lot of experience and expertise and play quite well in the search results, while also living as an FAQ here in short form and doing some interlinking strategy there. So content marketing, a topic I could talk about for eons, is still like a huge play in here, and something that you can continue to increase your efforts in, knowing that you're moving your clients and your website in the direction of the search generative experience. And that ultimately we want to be showcased there. We want to leverage content marketing to continue to show expertise. So in addition to doing more with your content around questions, what are some other action items, what we should be doing now? One is communicating. This is all pretty interesting stuff. Clients, other team members at your agency, they want to know about this. And it's best shared in a conversation. And I've been mostly sharing this with clients when I get them on the phone. And so if you're talking to them about SEO in 2024, or you're putting together their content calendar for 2024, as we come to the close of the year, this is a really fun time to dynamically walk them through the direction Google is going, giving them the big caveat that this is not rolled out across the world right now. This is not impacting them today, but giving them a talk very much like the conversation we've had here. And when I do that, I just have a little framework so I don't get totally off topic, which is, what is it? When is it going to roll out? What are we doing as an agency to be ready on their behalf? And what do we expect? Like, how much of a threat and how much of this is an opportunity to their business, which is just an opinion, and you may change your opinion with time as this rolls out. But this is the framework I'm using for this conversation with clients or with team members. The other thing is, I'm starting to just like follow my keywords in the search generative experience. And I can't do that with any kind of a rank tracking system. I can't really do that with a search console yet. It's not, this very generative AI information is generated, and you see different things different times you do it. But to be able to communicate to clients what I think it's going to have an impact, I kind of need to see on how they're doing now in this space. And some of the impact it's going to have depends on them. So if you're playing a consultative role in SEO for them, some of it depends on how much they execute on your recommendations, or do they level up and get more aggressive with content marketing this year and buy a bigger monthly SEO package from you so that you have more time to develop the kind of content that's going to resonate in the search results. Some of it is in their court. But it all begins with understanding, like, where are they today and what are the opportunities? And that takes sometimes just searching in the generative AI space and seeing what you see, and doing that, every time you run a monthly report, doing that, looking around at their results a little bit from time to time. So this is what we're doing. And when I do that, I'm looking at keywords in different parts of their traffic acquisition funnel. So at the lower funnel is their brand, and we don't really feel like this is playing a big space in the brand. So search for Pathfinder SEO still just shows Pathfinder SEO. There's not a lot of like generative AI. There's a prompt to continue the conversation, but otherwise it's pretty cut and dry. Then in the mid funnel, you get to those transactional keywords. So you get into the, a keyword for us would be something like best SEO software for digital agencies, or something like that. And this has never been a space we've played very aggressively in because it's highly competitive. And but I can see in here, hey, is my client, is my website getting like shown in these search results, yes or no? And how well does that align with how they do down here in the search results for this query? And I can start to anticipate, for Pathfinder, this is going to have no impact. We don't rank well down here, and we don't rank well down here. And we would have to start to invest more in this space if we wanted to get more mid-funnel with our SEO strategy. Then you go upper funnel, you talk about those information gathering keyword spaces. For clients with blogs, for clients with resource sections, this is going to impact them. And so if I think about like monthly SEO report example or something, this is very informational. I might have a prompt and have a different opinion on how that's going to impact my client, because this space is going to get really heavily impacted. And if my client gets a lot of traction in this space, then this is going to be one of those things that I really care to get involved with. So follow keywords, communicate, and then also double down some effort on some frequently asked questions, and you're moving you and your clients in the right direction here. And know that this is evolution. This is why clients hire us for SEO services, is to help them transition through this. We didn't create the game, and we're not 110% responsible. You know, we can't control what Google does, but what we can do to add value as their SEO partner is to move them through this next evolution in SEO. If you have clients that don't hire you for SEO services, the end of the year is such a great time to just do a client check-in anyways, and to let them know you do offer SEO services, or that you can help them through this era, and to schedule sort of an end of the year check-in, ask them questions about how their business is doing, and then share with them a couple of, hey, this is what's new in my industry space, and get them thinking about this, and that might spur them into action from being, you know, a general, you know, website care maintenance client to becoming and layering on an SEO package in 2024, because they're excited, not from a threatening way of what they might lose, but more from an opportunity space of understanding where Google's going and why this could be a particularly influential time to get involved with hiring an agency to help them leverage all of the opportunity that is here. So, Emily, that wraps up my slides, and I'd love to turn things over to questions. I also want to leave you all knowing that if you are interested in and need support in getting going with your SEO services offering, Pathfinder is here for you. We built Pathfinder for agencies, for freelancers, and we have everything from process on how to deliver the service to integrated tools to do the work and to deliver monthly reports, to business resources, proposal templates, training on how to package and price, and then also have a coaching and community offering in there as well. So a lot jam-packed into Pathfinder, all to help you grow your recurring revenue with SEO as a service. And we have a November sale. It's not on our website yet, but it'll be good through the end of November, and you can be an early adopter with the coupon code WELCOME30 for new subscribers, 30% off your first 6 months. If you are a current Pathfinder subscriber, know an email will come out to you soon. We have some sales that are oriented also for our customers that are current customers around some of our accelerator services and upgrades, et cetera. So, but this offer is available, and will help you save if you want to get going with SEO as a service. So I want to open this up. We've got 10 minutes. I've been trying to keep an eye on the chat, but I may have missed some questions. And Emily, we may get some new ones coming in.
Yeah, we haven't had a ton of questions come in, but one person made a good comment. And Karen's asking where to ask questions. Just put them, if you have questions, put them right in the comments and in the chat there, and we will get to them, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. They come all into us in our chat over here, so we will see them. So Karen just asks, an FAQ from a blog we wrote for a client is showing up in the people also ask section, she thinks. The problem is that when you click to go to the site, you land at the top of the page when what they're looking for is buried in the FAQ page at the bottom. It's not great user experience. Any suggestions on that?
That's a really good question. And really, in some ways, that's on Google for not providing an anchored link out of the, you know, here's the question, what should be included? And let's click on the result and see if that's there. You can see here, this comes in as an anchored link. And so Google's like really delivering the right UX experience of like anchoring you in to right where the content lies. And so If you're seeing your client struggle there, you may add some more structure to that blog post. You may go back and add, like at the top, some kind of a table of contents and do some anchored links off your headers and see if that clues Google into getting it sort of right here. If not, you may physically try to move that, that question higher on the page. And see if that also helps with that user experience. But you're spot on to, like, on the one hand, we're measured so heavily against getting the win for our client, right? Just getting the click. But the thing that our clients care about is the business value of that. And so if there's a poor user experience somewhere in that, like the information isn't presented, you're going to end up with low engagement rates. You're not going to end up with a lot of new sales as a result. And so you want to be thinking, even as an SEO provider, you have to be thinking about not just getting the session, but getting the engagement out of it. So yeah, I'd probably try doing some more structure to the post, some anchored links, and seeing if you can get Google to hone in to the particular space.
Awesome. Yeah, that is a tricky one. And it's frustrating, right? When you see yourself on Google and it's the wrong image and you have it all set up right, or it's pulling text in from somewhere and you have no idea why. And there's not a lot you can do about it sometimes, which is frustrating.
Nope, you spend a lot of time doing little problem solving, and like you understand the client's perspective sometimes, like if the wrong image is pulled in or something and they don't feel like it represents their brand, of course they look to you to fix that. And then you're like, I don't even know where Google's coming up with this image. Like it's not even on the page or whatever. One of the skills of an SEO provider is problem solving. And so like being interested in that is sort of like, I got to go figure out what's going on, what's happening with this anomaly. Another is experimentation in the solution, saying this solution seems like a logical next step. I'm going to try it. There's not always like an end all be all. And then with clients, it's about being empathetic to their frustration or their challenge. And then letting them know how you're approaching it and making sure that they understand that this is nuanced, this is an art and a science, this is not overnight, and that they may have to accept, imperfections as you work through something. So great question.
Yeah, really good question. Somebody on Facebook made a comment, and I think it got deleted actually, because I don't see it on Facebook anymore, but I see it over in our feed, and it's a good comment. So they said, not to be too negative, but it seems like traditional websites are now only 50% of the build, and the other 50% is setting up all the stuff to get our clients on Google. And I'm sure so many people can relate to that feeling. And it's true. Yeah, Lindsay, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's totally true that, a website is the foundation for their marketing and their success in getting traffic. But there's so much more to it, and we can't just like build a website and think they will come, so to speak. But I would say that really this offsite component, everything happening beyond the website, has been around for a long time. And it's the part that's the hardest for us as service providers, because it's the part we struggle to influence. It's hard to get backlinks for our clients. A little easier to work in Google Maps, and I know there's some really great training. And that can be a super impactful thing to do for your clients. And there's some great training and resources from GoWP and Trisha and that department. But yeah, you do need to educate your client early on. And I use like a 60-40. So 50-50 is reasonable too. This is all art and science, but I'm like 60% is your website, your content, your all of this. And 40% is all of this other stuff. And you cannot get an A+ on your website and a D on the offsite and expect to excel in SEO. We need to be leveling up. And so if offsite SEO is your weakness, we need to go back to the drawing board and come up with some really creative ways to get some links for you, to get some Google Maps reviews. And one thing you can do is just help clients understand, if you could spend 1 hour helping me in SEO, what would that hour be best spent on? For some clients, it's content. Some of it's like approving content, writing content. Others, it's like you have no Google Maps reviews. We've got to go do something here. Others, it's you have no offsite SEO. We've got to go leverage partnerships and get out there and build some external trust. So you're absolutely right. And it's not a negative comment in my mind's eye. It is just the way it is. It's 50-50 or 60-40, however you want to look at it. You've got to be moving in parallel on a few of these things.
It's so true. And I always think of it kind of, the website is the, in comparison with like a brick and mortar, that's the building, right? And of course, there's marketing involved in how you design the website. But you can rent a spot on Main Street and it's going to cost you more, but people will just walk in off the street, right? Or you can, save a little money and go off Main Street, but you're going to have to spend money elsewhere on your marketing to get folks in the door. It's tricky, but it's the way it is. It's business and marketing. Yeah.
It is.
Absolutely. We don't have, I don't see any other questions coming in. Lots of really great comments about Pathfinder. So I do encourage everybody to check out Pathfinder, take advantage of this offer. It's a very generous offer. That's really cool, Lindsay. Thanks for sharing that today. So 30% off your first 6 months with Pathfinder SEO. Lindsay, if you want to just explain a little bit about what folks get with Pathfinder SEO.
Yeah, absolutely. So with Pathfinder, essentially, we kind of look at it as being a guided SEO solution, and you get a few things. The first is you get process documentation. So we walk you step by step through how to deliver SEO services, from doing an SEO assessment to completing the setup, to moving into monthly SEO. You have videos, checklists, etc., to break SEO down into a step-by-step process. If you're new to SEO, you can use this to deliver your first projects. That could even be doing SEO on your own website. Or if you have junior team members, you can use this to help train them up so you can spend less time training clients in something you might already be good at, or your junior team members, you can get them trained up. The next thing is tools. There are simple and easy to use tools to do keyword research, track your clients' rankings, and deliver white labeled monthly reports. So streamlined and simple, and they give you what you need to deliver SEO services to small to medium-sized businesses. If you work with enterprise clients, larger websites, you may also want to layer in like an SEO software like an Ahrefs or SEMrush. But if you're working with small to medium, the tools in Pathfinder are geared to give you everything you need. Then we have a lot of business resources, training on how to package, price, market, sell. And we give you templates and worksheets to accelerate you through the early phases of building out that SEO services offering. And then we come in and pretty much every day there is an office hours session. You can go to a workshop or a group coaching session. And these are all designed where you can go and get your questions answered. So if you're like, question just like, why is this client's result doing this? I'm totally racking my brain about why this is happening. Or I don't even know where to begin with keyword research. We work through all those things in our coaching and community section. And this morning we had a workshop, for instance, on SEO proposals. And we went through like that, and we had folks from experienced SEOs to newer in the space all working together to make sure all of our proposals are top notch and ready to go close the deal. So that's a bit about Pathfinder, and you can also schedule a demo if you want to look under the hood and chat with us a bit before jumping on board.
Awesome. And would you say Pathfinder is good for agency owners who maybe aren't super familiar with SEO and have clients asking for it?
Absolutely. So most of our Pathfinder customers are either new to SEO and have decided, hey, I want to start offering this as a service and I need, education and resources and support. Or they have an existing offering, but it's not a core offering. So, they've got a couple SEO clients, but they haven't standardized their processes. They don't feel totally confident in it. That's really kind of the space that we mostly work in, and we're here to help.
Awesome. I love that because we talk a lot about recurring revenue in our community, and of course with website maintenance and that sort of thing, we always encourage, and I think it's so run of the mill now for that to be a recurring service. So if you're doing one-off SEO services, if you're doing, just the basic setup when you're building sites and that sort of thing, Pathfinder, I think, really empowers and enables you to set that up as another line of recurring revenue in your business. So I highly recommend checking it out. Michael Magenti over on Facebook also saying it's got a great client community too. And I know we've got some of your clients in the Micro Agency Academy as well, and they always speak highly of it also. So I definitely recommend, just even if you not sure about it, jump on a call with Lindsay and her team and see if it's the right fit for you. So very cool. We are at time today. Again, thank you, Lindsay. It was a really great session today. I had fun learning about the search generative AI and experience and all that with Google. I know it's coming. I've been playing around with it a little bit, and it is interesting. And it's just interesting to see where search is going overall, because we're getting all sorts of different tools. I don't know, for those folks who use WhatsApp, they have an AI assistant in there now where you can just basically use it as a search engine and ask it questions, and it gives you what we can assume are answers, I guess. I don't know. Depends on where our trust level is on these things right now, but it's very cool. Lots of things are changing, so it's great to stay up to date on it. So thank you, Lindsay, for bringing us this information today and all of your expertise. And I look forward to our next month's session.
Thank you all. Thanks for having me here, Emily.
Yeah, have a great day. And thank you, everybody, for joining and all of your questions. It was wonderful, and we will see you at the next event. Thank you. See ya.